We have to be optimistic. I know times look pretty bleak right now. We don't have our president, but during these times of darkness, guess what? I heard and I read in a very important book once that adversity can bring on the greatest periods of growth and bring us to the one who is most important. Okay? We should remember that. And I think we should enjoy a little bit and take note of the hypocrisy we're seeing every single day from this brand new Biden administration. We call this the bad and the worst. They are picking people who have said and done some awful things in the past, but because they lean left politically, it's A-OK. Let's start with Jelana Porter. She is the new Deputy Press Secretary spokesperson for the State Department, the very face of our foreign affairs. Jelana has a lot of nasty things to say about law enforcement. This is the kind of thing that would get you, well, not hired in the Republican world. Let's take a look at what she put on her Facebook page back in 2016, not terribly long ago. The largest threat to U.S. national security are U.S. cops, not ISIS, not Russian hackers, not anyone or anything else. How about that? Let's put her at the State Department platform speaking for America. I don't think that's a very good idea. How about this? Hunter Biden. He's had a few attorneys in his days. Well, one of his attorneys has a colleague who just hit it big, a great big job in the Department of Justice. Ex-colleague of Hunter Biden's lawyer gets top DOJ post. What's up with that? Also, do you remember Peter Strzok, the now disgraced FBI agent who, well, he got caught lying and was ultimately fired by the FBI? His wife has a very big job now at the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Biden administration just made Peter Strzok's wife a top SEC official. Does that seem right? Does that seem like it would fly in a Republican administration? By the way, are these issues getting a lot of attention? Not really. Not really at all. By the way, you have to differentiate, though, between the top of the swamp and the rank and file. Often, you've got great people in the rank and file. And we have to mention that 3 FBI agents were shot today. 2 died down in Sunrise, Florida. That's outside of Fort Lauderdale. They were serving a warrant, and 2 agents died. And that's horrible. And our thoughts and prayers go out to those heroes. And too often, there is a big difference between those who want to serve America and those who want to take from America. Every organization has that, by the way. Those who play a political game and those who just try to do the job. Even the military, by the way, the United States military, they have people there to serve, and then they have people there to, well, get by politically. Did you see this? The Pentagon came out with an official policy statement. The Pentagon declares climate change a national security issue. Climate change. All right. I thought they were all about winning wars and, figuring out how to minimize casualties, but they're going to be talking about and worrying about climate change. Do you think the military came up with that themselves, or was it thrust upon them by the political culture? Traditionally, call me corny, but the military stands for peace and use of force when necessary. I don't think they would be at odds with law and order. Well, this military apparently is. Do you remember the horrible events that happened in Washington, D.C. over the summer? The riot right outside the White House? We all saw it. People marauding, destroying or trying to destroy statues, trying to burn a church. It was a horrible situation, and the National Guard was sent in. They cleaned it up along with Metropolitan Police. Problem? I don't see one. And the president, who stands for law and order, let's face it, and the right to worship, walked over there after the scene was cleared, and he stood proudly in front of a church, and he raised the Bible. Now, this is one of the most controversial moments of the Trump presidency. Why? How is this controversial? A president standing for law and order and freedom of faith? But it drove the swamp so crazy that somehow they manipulated General Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, for apologizing for participating in the moment, even just for a nanosecond when he walked across the street with his commander-in-chief. He somehow felt the need to apologize.
I should not have been there. My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics.
Well, that was unacceptable, ensuring peace and tranquility and religious freedom. But somehow, this is A-OK. Here he is, forgive me, General, basically flirting with the brand new Vice President, Kamala Harris, after the inauguration. May we take a quick peek, please? That's General Milley, and that's Kamala Harris. I see four hands involved in that greeting right there. They're talking up a storm. Am I supposed to think less of General Milley? I mean, an inauguration I think it has political overtones. Isn't that safe to say? Such a strange culture down there. And by the way, am I taking pot shots at the military generals? You damn right I am, and I know plenty of them. And quite frankly, I think I've earned the right. I ate a lot of dirt in the desert. I've been there. I've done that. Okay? Okay. Back to Joe Biden. Looking very shaky. Let's face it. And when you see Joe Biden, do you see somebody who's in charge? Do you see somebody who's barking orders? Or do you see somebody who might be on the receiving end of orders? Do you think Joe Biden's really running the show? Here's my sense, and here's what I'm hearing. He's not. He's not in charge. These two fellows are. We've got Ron Klain, longtime swamp inhabitant, worked for Joe Biden as vice president, and Susan Rice, of course, made famous during Benghazi. These are said to be the real power players in the White House right now. You know, when you think about it, Joe Biden being president, it really never should have happened for a lot of reasons. But he was a elder vice president, okay? Becoming vice president is such a fluke. It really is. Let's go back. When Ronald Reagan picked George H.W. Bush, he had a list of like 6 names. And, he thought about making Gerald Ford his vice president. He was a compromise candidate, basically decided on him in about 15 minutes and made a phone call. And all of history was changed forever. All of history was changed forever. It happens that fast. You go from man on the street. Yeah, people knew who George H.W. Bush was, but catapulted to the vice presidency. And when you're vice president, well, you're just a heartbeat away, as they say. How about Barack Obama when he picked Joe Biden? All right, there are lots of people he could have picked. One of the reasons why he picked Joe Biden, he would not be a political threat. He would not be a rival because Joe was, well, too old to one day run for president himself. But here we are. Here we are. Isn't that strange? Does it make sense what I'm talking about here? The vice presidency is an easy ticket to the top. Usually, though, vice presidents never make it for 2 terms. Never. I don't think it's happened once in history. All right, folks, Jimmy Carter is no hero of mine at all. I can't believe this guy became president. But one of his more depressing speeches, and he gave a lot of them, there's a moment in there that speaks to what we're going through right now.
We've always had a faith that the days of our children would be better than our own. Our people are losing that faith, not only in government itself, but in the ability as citizens to serve as the ultimate rulers and shapers of our democracy.
Again, no Jimmy Carter fan, but his point back then actually kind of resonates right now. I do think we should be in charge. Cancel culture, the left, they want to make that not the case. But we're not going to let them, right? We're going to stand up for ourselves. I certainly felt this way when Donald Trump was in office, okay? When he was fighting these battles and making the case, it gave me a sense of security. But now that he's gone, I hope he comes back, but now that he's gone, it's going to be up to us, folks. It's going to be up to us. You know, one thing we can do? Understand and know fully what our rights are. If I were to ask you right now, what's the 10th Amendment of the Constitution? Would you know? Would you know what the 15th Amendment was? I only knew until today the first and second, maybe the fifth. We have them all here, the 27 amendments of the United States Constitution. No excuse anymore to not know this stuff because, well, our lives may depend on it, for one. And number two, we should know this stuff, okay? We just should know this stuff. Have you ever heard of my friend Harry Lorraine? Memory expert. At one point, he was one of the most famous men in all of America. He wrote a lot of books about memory, and I read one of those books, and quite frankly, it changed my life. His memory was so good, and the techniques to actually improve his memory, very easy to understand. Here's a sample of what he could do with it.
I believe that's Mr. Rutherford, and Mrs. Anderson is in between the Rutherfords. There's Mrs. Rutherford on the other side of Mrs. Anderson. Mr. and Mrs. Hajini, I hope I pronounced that correctly. This is easy because it's the Watney family. It's Mr. and Mrs. Watney, Mr. Watney, and Mrs. Watney. Thank you.
You see that on some old-timey TV show? He memorized everybody's name in the audience. So it's not that impressive, but what I did do, and it only took me about 20 minutes, if that, using his techniques to memorize all 27 amendments in the United States Constitution. I did not know that when I woke up this morning. I knew, again, the first, the second, maybe the fifth. So we got all 27 all listed right there. I'm blindfolded. I can't see anything. And if I could have someone in the room yell out any number between 1 and 27, please.
12.
12. That would be the procedures in electing a president and vice president. Everything involving the election of that's all the 12th Amendment covers, right? Am I right? Did I get the gist of it? Yeah. All right. So, did I? Yes, they told me yes. All right, one more, please.
10.
Oh, boy, this is a creepy. Okay. Any right that's not in the Constitution, the federal Constitution, the states have. Correct. All right? Correct. Yes, close enough, close enough. By the way, this is not good enough. I know you got to get into the weeds, but this is a good start. Give me another number, please.
15.
15. That means people of any race can vote. Imagine that. We had to come up with an amendment for that. Our country's been through a lot. All right, you get what I'm talking about here? One more, and then we'll say we're done.
23.
23. That is people in Washington, D.C. can vote. Yeah. All right. Now they want to make D.C. a state, by the way, and I have a feeling I can find a way that's against the Constitution. Anyway, once again, Harry Lorraine, he has a million books about memory, and they're so easy and so much fun to learn, and there's stuff that we got to learn.